Sea of Storms, south of Malaz Isle. Season of Osirk. 1154th year of Burn's sleep. 96th year of the Malazan Empire. Last year of Emperor Kellanved's reign. The two-masted raider, Rainey's Dream, raced northeast under full straining sails. Captain Merle gripped the stern railing and watched the storm close upon his ship. Pushed to its limits, the hull groaned ominously, while the ropes skirled high notes Merle had never heard. The storm had swelled like a wall of night out of the south, a solid front of billowing black clouds over wind-lashed waves. But it was not the storm that worried Captain Merle, no matter how unnatural its rising. Rainey's Dream had broached the highest seas known to Jacatan pilots, from the northern Sea of Cult to the driving trade winds of the reach south of Stratum. No. What sank fingers of dread into his heart were the azure flashes glinting like shards of ice amid the waves at the base of the churning cloud front. No one told of seeing them this close, none who returned. Riders, Merle and his fellow pilots called them, sea demons and storm riders to others. Beings of sea and ice who claimed this narrow cut as their own and suffered no trespass. Only his Jacatan forebears knew the proper offerings to bribe the swiftest passage south of Malaz Isle. Why then did the riders pursue? What could entice them this far north? Merle turned his back to the punishing wind. His cousin, Lackeye, fought to control the helm, his legs splayed, arms quivering at the tiller's broad wheel. As the ship cantered forward into a trough, Merle tightened his grip against the fall and booming impact. "Did we forget any of the offerings?" he shouted over the roar of the wind. Gaze fixed ahead to the bows. Lackeye shook his head. "None!" he called. "We've tried 'em all." He glared over his shoulder with a pale blue eye. "All save the last." Merle flinched away. He drew himself amidships, hand over hand along the guide ropes. Already the deck lay treacherous beneath a sheet of ice. Wind-driven rime as sharp as needles raised blood on his neck and hands. All save the last. But that rite he'd never enact. Why, in Kem's cold embrace, every soul on the Rennie was bloodkin to him. Merle remembered the one time he'd witnessed that rite. The poor lad's black-haired head bobbing atop the waves, pale arms clawing desperately at the water. He shuddered from the cold and something worse. No, that he could not bring himself to do. Merle crouched next to a slim figure lashed to the mainmast, slumped as if asleep. With a hand numb from the freezing salt spume, he reached out to caress a pale cheek. "Ah, Rennie, dear, I'm so sorry. It was just too much for you. Who could possibly hope to soothe a storm such as this?" Ice crackled next to Merle as his first mate, Hoggan, thumped against the mast and wrapped an arm about it. "Shall I break out the weapons?" Merle choked down a maniacal urge to laugh. He peered keenly at Hoggan to see if the man was serious. Sadly, it appeared he was. Frost shone white in his beard, and his eyes were flat and dull. It was as if the fellow were already dead. Merle groaned within. "Go ahead, if you must." He squinted up to the mast top. A shape straddled the crossbar there, at mast and spur. Something glinted over his trousers, shirt and arms. A layer of entombing ice. "And get young Mole down from there! The lad won't answer. I think the cold's done for him." Merle closed his eyes against the spray, hugged the mast. "We're slowing," Hoggan observed in a toneless voice. Merle barely heard him through the wind. He could feel his soaked clothes draining the life warmth from him. He shuddered uncontrollably. "Ice at the sails! They'll tear soon! Have to hammer it! Knock it off! Try all you like!" Coughing hoarsely, Hoggan laboured to pull away from the mast. Merle held to. It was fitting, he decided, that he should meet his end here, with Rainey, on the ship he'd named in her honour.